Curtis A reached out to me, said make a theme song for my show. Said alright, just give me all the details, man. And my homie says he don't know. Well, if you're gonna pay me big bucks, guess I might should have something to say. He said, you know what I bring, I'm the customizing king, nothing else matters anyway. So is he gonna have guests? I don't know. Is he gonna go live? I don't know. What time will it be? What will you see? I'm pretty much in the dark, but I can guarantee he'll be customizing action figures, getting paint all on his fingers. It's art by Akerman. It's art by Akerman. Tips and tricks and conversation, sharing his gift with every nation. It's art by Akerman. Art by Akerman. You best get ready, cause now it's time for Art by Akerman.
Hey there, folks. Today we are going to look at a Legions figure, breaking it apart and painting it. Specifically, we're going to use the Tusk Sentry from the Cosmic Legion line. So, going to show you a blown up view, kind of how I break apart the pieces, and you hold them to paint them and that kind of thing. So, with these, there's a lot of parts. Basically every joint that you see can come apart. So you got, shoulder, your elbow, gauntlet, hand, this back piece comes off, head comes off, neck piece comes off, chest circle there pops out. You got your belt, your crotch piece has a crotch cover, main crotch piece that holds the legs in place. You got a butt plate cover there. You've got your hip joints, your upper thighs, your shin area, ankles, and feet. So I'll show you kind of what all that looks like when it's taken apart and how you would go about painting it. So let's take a look. Okay, so this is an exploded view of a Cosmic Legion figure of a Sentry. So this one here. And we just basically broke it all apart into all the different pieces, and we've got it laid out here. I've already primed this, and I've got a 3D head sculpt that I'm going to be put on it. This is from Wolf King Customs. It's a little like Kitsune Fox with a like a cosmic helmet thing. So basically when you're doing this, this is all the parts that it breaks into. Pop off the arms from the torso, the chest plug. Easiest way I found to get that out is to just have like a stick with some blue tack, and to just kind of push in on it and pull out, and it'll pull right out. Initially, when we first got these, I started trying to pop them out with an X-Acto knife, and I broke a couple blades. But if you just get something sticky and get it on there, silly putty, blue tack, whatever, it'll pull right out. So, from the arms, you've got the elbow is a separate joint. Then you've got your, wrist gauntlet, then your hand. This back piece is actually in two separate pieces. I don't have it separated here, but right along this line here, if you heat it up, you can pop that apart as well. I'm not going to for this because I don't need to, but if you wanted to for some reason, you could do that. You got your neck. As far as your lower body, you've got your waist piece here with a kind of crotch cover. You've got the butt cover. You've then got your like belt piece going into the legs. You've got your upper thighs or upper like hip connectors, then your thighs, your shins, and then ankle joints and feet. So with these, some of the tricky parts to get apart, the elbows sometimes can be a little tricky, getting off of or from the elbow to the gauntlet, I should say, getting these off. So you really want to heat this up. Use a heat gun, hot water, whatever. If you're taking the whole figure apart like this, you may as well just do something with hot water. You can heat it up to a boil or almost a boil, take it off, Drop your figure in there. That'll warm up everything, and then you should be able to pop it apart pretty easily. If you're just pulling apart one or two things, a hairdryer or a heat gun or something like that will work for it. You can see on some of these, I've got, like on this here, there's blue tack on this shoulder. That's because the underneath part, I wanted to stay the same color that it originally was. So I just put some blue tack on it and then primed it, and I'll do the same thing when I actually go to paint it. Blue tack is a nice way to just kind of tape something off. If it's small, intricate details, you could also use this Vallejo liquid mask, works really well. And then you just peel it off afterwards. But for this works pretty well. The reason I did this is because I don't want to have to paint that joint. Sometimes I will, if absolutely necessary. There's a whole lot of stuff with that I'll get into in a later video, as far as like sanding the joints and using a Dremel and things like that. But for the most part, if you can leave the joints the color that they are, that's usually the best way to do it so that you don't get the paint rub. For this one here, I'm going to be doing multiple colors on this figure anyway, so leaving this kind of base gray for the joints is not a bad thing. That works in my favor. So you'll see that like on there. I've got it on like the hip joints. I got some blue tack on the elbows. So if you're kind of wondering what that blue tack that is, that's what it is. So another part that's very difficult to get apart sometimes is the foot and the ankle. This is probably the most difficult part. Once again, heat is your friend. In this situation, that hot water or heat gun would work well. You just want to make sure, especially if you're using a heat gun, that you don't hold it directly on the part for too long, because it can melt the plastic. If you're using a heat gun, you want to make sure you have it at the right temperature and just kind of keep it moving until this heats up enough. And the other thing is it's going to heat your fingers too. So you know, typically what I'll do, like if I was heating this piece and it had the ankle in it, I would try to grab the top of the ankle joint with, you know, some tweezers or something. So I would go like this, grab some tweezers, and I would hold this with the, you know, with the ankle joint still in there, and then heat up that whole thing and then try to pop it out. Or like I said, just dump it in water. This part comes out from the shin pretty easily. So you can pop that off with the foot on it, dump that whole thing in some warm water, and then pop it out from there. So those, the gauntlet from the elbow and the ankle joint to the foot are really the most difficult couple pieces. Sometimes the shin to the knee is a little bit difficult, but you know, with this one, this Century, it's got this kind of lip here. So when you bend this, when you articulate this, as long as it's heated up, you should be able to get your thumb behind that and just kind of pop it off. So same thing goes with the elbow and the gauntlet. There's a little bit of a lip there. So once you heat that up, get your thumb underneath of it, you should be able to kind of pop that apart. So now that I've got it all apart, like what do I do with this? How do I go about painting this? So I've got a couple different methods for like actually painting things up and holding it while I'm painting it and stuff. So something like this, this is the upper leg. I would take one of these sticks that I've got with blue tack on it. I would put that in there, maybe to get some more blue tack. So I've always got some extra handy here just to, with all these sticks and stuff. So take a chunk of blue tack, I'll put that inside this big opening here, and then I'll just get a stick and shove it inside there, enough to hold it. So, and then I would put that there. For like, let's say this ankle joint, for that, I would use the alligator clips, which are over here. So I would just take one of these alligator clips and I would grab whichever part that I feel like is less likely to be showing, which is probably this upper part here. So I would just grab it by that, because that's going to go all the way inside that shin, and then I'll put it in my holder for my alligator clips, and that's how I would paint that. For like this piece here, the shin, it has a bigger opening at the bottom than it does at the top. The top where the knee plugs in is just this little peg here. so the bottom is a little bit bigger, and that one I can just typically pop one of these sticks that I've got in here. These sticks, I got them from a hobby store. It's like basically like a little dowel rod, but instead of round, it's just square, and then I just chopped them up into the sizes that I need. And I've got, you know, a whole clump of them here. So for the waist piece, this is something I kind of put together. This is a stick with blue tack and a penny inside. And the penny helps give me that bigger flat surface that's a little bit more solid. I put that underneath of here and just kind of squeeze it together. And now I can paint that without getting my hands painted or, you know, messing up any of the paint or anything by holding that stick. So, so most of the parts are kind of like that. There's a few different ones like the crotch piece here. I've got a smaller stick that I will just put inside of there. And then I will use an alligator clip to hold that. So kind of like this. And then I would paint it like that. For the head, typically if I'm just doing one figure or one head or something like that, if I'm not doing like a whole bunch of heads at once, I'll use these NECA headstands, and I'll just pop that in there with some blue tack, and then that allows me to work on that head pretty easily. Same thing with the torso. I'll usually use one of these NECA headstands, and I need a little bit more blue tack for that because that opening's a little bit bigger. So just grab some extra blue tack. Might be a little too much. I think it's called Fun Tack. If you get it on Amazon, the Loctite, it's called Fun Tack. That's what I use anyway. And then just shove this in here. And once again, I can now paint on this without touching the paint or having to, you know, where am I going to hold it and what, all that kind of stuff. So, for feet, I've got these little sticks with kind of a cotton swab at the end that I use for various things when I kind of mess up something or I get a wash that pulls up in a certain spot. I kind of can absorb this. But these work really well for this joint that the ankle goes into, just to hold this enough to paint it. A lot of times what I'll do is just put some blue tack on the end of that just to hold it a little bit more solid. So like here's one that already had some blue tack on it. Just stick that in there and that'll hold the foot and allow me to paint it without getting my fingers all in it. So any other pieces that are kind of tricky? Not too much. A lot of these, like if the opening's big enough, I'll just put that one of the sticks inside. For something like this, it's easier just to grab the end with an alligator clip. So it's just a various amount of either grabbing it with an alligator clip or sticking the stick with the blue tack in it. And then I'll paint it all up and go from there. So I'm not going to go into that step today. I just wanted to show kind of the, you know, breakdown of what the figure looks like, how I actually will utilize like, you know, foam block with some sticks in it or alligator clip stand with some alligator clips in order to hold these things, NECA headstand, in order to actually do the painting. These Legion builders, they are really great for customizing. You get them at a lower price point. They've got a whole bunch of sculptural details that you can paint. So you can take this thing that starts off with very little paint apps and just decide, I'm gonna hit, you know, maybe these areas that are kind of like graded, maybe I'll hit all of those. So I've got one there, one here, one on the other side of that, you know, the other leg has it. If I look on the chest, I've got a couple there. Got some on the arms. So if you just decided to hit like those graded areas, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, like those areas, if you didn't touch anything else, will make a huge difference. And so let's say next time, maybe I don't want to do those areas. I want to do like everything that looks like a screw. Okay. Well, I got a screw here. I've got like one here. I've got, if I turn over, I got one there. As I go up top, I've got a couple on the arm, you know. So, I mean, you could hit every single detail with one figure. It's going to be a lot of painting. Or you can kind of pick and choose what you're going to hit, how you're going to hit it, what colors you're going to use. You know, if you end up using, let's say, a primary color, a secondary color, and maybe an accent color, right? So 3 colors. You could take those 3 colors and paint this same figure, you know, 100 different ways. So it's just a matter of which things that you want to hit at what times. And that's really about it. All right, here are 2 that I've used that Sentry body for, 2 different customs. The one on the left there, you can see where I focused on those kind of graded pieces that we talked about earlier. I really wanted to make those greens pop, so I was kind of inspired by the Clone Wars clone troopers and the different colors they have for the ranks and whatnot. So I knew I was going to keep it mostly that Sentry color, but I wanted to add that green that was going to pop, as well as some black and silver accent pieces on there. So you can see how that came out. And then the one on the right is my Swig custom from this year. And that one uses a combination of those Sentry parts along with some Mythic parts, a Mythic waist piece and some pauldrons, as well as the Swig head inside of part of a science officer head that I made into a helmet. You can see there's different colors on there. Obviously, I used more of a copperish look on there with blacks to make it still feel like Swig, even though it's on mostly a cosmic body. So the difference in these two from the joint standpoint, you can see on the Swig, if you look at around the knee area, I left it that color of the Sentry that it normally comes in, so I didn't have to deal with any of the paint wear or rub or any of that. Whereas on the one on the left, you see I painted that, you know, above the knee joint in black because I thought it would look cooler for this figure, but that also meant that I had to do some work on that joint to try to avoid that paint rub. So here's just a couple different looks that you could get, but once again, they both started the same way that we did today, which is breaking apart the figure and setting up all the parts to be painted. So hope this helped you. If it did, shoot me a picture of what you come up with, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook. I'd love to see what you create. And, you know, make sure you like and subscribe if this was helpful. My friend Kent always tells me YouTube loves comments, so feel free to put some comments in there. And until next time, keep creating, folks.
Tips and tricks and conversation, sharing his gift with every nation. It's art by Akerman, art by Akerman. You best get ready, cause now it's time for